more thing I want you to try before you begin programming your drone. We already talked about how there's an emergency stop button here. And if you click that button, the drone will drop out of the sky. It loses power to all its propellers. If you were accidentally, the drone was drifting towards a person who was minding their own business at their desk, or heading towards the screen that we project on, or something like that, that you know is not normal and possibly even dangerous, I want one person to be standing right over here after they hit the green start button, move their cursor right over the stop button and be ready to cancel the program and drop the drone to the ground for safety. Now, we don't want to do that a million times. These drones are pretty tough, but we don't want to beat them up any more than usual. I'm sure that repeatedly dropping them to the ground is going to be bad for them. But I also think if we fly the drone and it gets caught in somebody's hair or hits somebody in the head, that's much worse than our drone getting a little beat up. All right, so I got my drone over here, and I'm going to just make a short program where it hovers for 10 seconds, which should give me plenty of time to practice landing it safely as though there were an emergency, okay? And my code looks something like this, in case you're wondering. All right, and my drone and controller are synced. So if I run my code, all right, so I'm going to push run code here. And it's hovering for 10 seconds. Now, if I wanted to make it go down, if all of a sudden, again, this were traveling across the room, and I was going, oh, snap, it's going to run into that girl's back of her head and get tangled up in her hair, or it's going to hit the teacher's desk, what I would probably just do is, as long as it's not a crazy emergency, here there's a thing called land. So in the middle of any program, you can push the land button, and it'll land just like it does at the end down here where the command land is. You don't have to wait till the end of your program. So as you see your drone flying into a dangerous area, you can just push the land button. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do right now. Watch. There's my drone. Running my code. I still have many seconds to go, but oh my gosh, it's going to the wrong place. So I push the land button, and it goes right down. And you'll notice that was a pretty gentle landing. When we use the emergency stop, it's a lot more abrupt of a landing, a lot more of a crash than a land when we do that. I will show you what it looks like and talk about what you can do to make an emergency stop. But once again, that's only in the case of an emergency where, oh my gosh, this thing is actually going to hit somebody or get stuck in the ceiling or something. We need to get it down on the ground as quick as possible, which of course may damage the drone. That's why we don't practice these emergency landings anymore. We found out we were destroying or beating up our drone so bad we had to replace parts all the time just from practicing this. So I want you to know how to do this, but you're not going to practice it. But watch for a emergency stop. Now the first thing you may notice is that I have that black padded piece of foam rubber underneath it, so when it does fall, it's not going to fall quite as hard. Let's see, tilt this camera up just a little bit here, and I'm going to run my program, and then I'm going to click the stop button that's on my screen, not the land button. Uh-oh. So it's not over my thing anymore. I'm going to push stop, and you can see it drops like a rock. Okay? So, needless to say, even with that padding under there, we do that enough times, 5 periods a day, times however many kids, it beats our drone up pretty badly. All right? There's one other way that you can do it is by moving the joysticks on the controller down and to the left and push the buttons on the back. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. All right? But there is one more way to do it. All right, there is one more way we can do the emergency stop, and that is by pulling back the left joystick down toward you and pushing the upper bumper. So if we look over here at my joystick, I'm going to pull this guy down, and I'm going to push this bumper, this button right here. If I do that at the same time, it's going to be the same as me pushing that emergency stop button on the screen. Okay? So let's see how this goes. Adjust this a little bit. I'm going to run my code. And now I'm going to pull that bumper back. Oh, and you missed the mat. See, this is why exactly we don't do the emergency stop testing anymore. Hopefully I haven't damaged the drone by doing that. Look, in an emergency, it's worth potential damage to the drone versus potential damage to a human being or a classmate of yours. But I would say that for the most part, we are not going to do an emergency stop unless it's really, really necessary. The land button usually works just fine, okay? But there are 3 ways. The land button is your first choice, the emergency stop on the screen, and then pulling down the left joystick and hitting the top left bumper. All those 2 ways are a good way of doing the emergency stop in an actual emergency. All right? Other than that, please don't practice this because it will beat our drones up.